Discovering JPH, John Peters Humphrey. I knew there was a document called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, also known as the UDHR. But I had no idea who actually wrote it. I started researching, and then I found myself really getting into the topic. Many sources said the author of the UDHR was René Cassin, a French human rights activist. However, I found an article from McGill University's newspaper dated 1988. It reported that McGill's law librarian had just found the handwritten first drafts of the UDHR, and that the drafts were written by John Peters Humphrey, a Canadian law professor. I was shocked. What about René Cassin? Who was this Humphrey fellow? I decided to research Humphrey. At age 42, JPH, as I like to call him, got a job as the director of the Human Rights Division at the United Nations. JPH's main assignment was to prepare the documents that reflected the interests and cultures of different nations around the world. These documents would help the United Nations Commission draft the UDHR. Members of the Commission, including Chairperson Eleanor Roosevelt, then asked JPH to write the first draft of the UDHR. JPH wrote it in about 6 weeks. It was 400 pages long and contained 48 articles detailing every person's fundamental rights and freedoms. And then he wrote 5 subsequent drafts. René Cassin edited the last draft to make the final document that we see today. So JPH played a huge role in writing the UDHR. This made me want to know more about him. Who was he? What was he like? JPH was born in April 1905 and grew up in small-town Hampton, New Brunswick. He didn't have an easy life, and kids teased him all through high school.
I was an orphan at the age of 11. As a matter of fact, when my mother died, and I never knew my father because he died before I had my first birthday. But at the age of 6, I did have an accident playing with fire, and it took a year for the doctors to decide, but finally they did amputate the left arm. But I've never looked on it as a handicap.
When people asked JPH why he didn't let everyone know that he was the author of the UDHR, he replied that he wasn't the only author. In his own words, he said the document was the work of hundreds, indeed of thousands of people, and it represents a synthesis of the ideas and convictions of the millions of people of all races and nationalities who spoke through them. John Peters Humphrey died in March 1995, a week after his McGill retirement party. That's one party I wish I had attended. I would like to have shaken the hand that wrote the most important document in human rights history, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.